flesh side up, and your initial cuts are going to be shallow slices directly on top of both the thigh bone and the leg bone, coming down at a 90-degree angle, and this is just to expose the leg and thigh bone. Now notice how I'm holding the knife here. I'm using a modified pinch grip. Normally speaking, you would pinch the knife between your index finger and thumb like that. But here I'm pinching the knife between my middle finger and thumb with my index finger resting on top of the blade, making the knife an extension of my index finger. And this is going to make it easier to control the tip of the knife, which I'm using during most of the slicing here. Now you want to work the knife down along both sides of the leg and thigh bone, and then once you expose the top of the thigh bone enough to where you can slip your knife cleanly underneath it, you want to do that and then cut outwards to detach the flesh. Now anytime you're making a knife movement like that where you're detaching flesh from the bone, you always want to flex your knife or angle your knife edge towards the bone, so that way you're only going to cut the bone. You're not going to actually cut the flesh, and that's what's going to give you a nice even flesh without any chunks missing. Now we're going to do the exact same thing on the leg end, where we're going to expose the leg bone all the way down to that bottom joint. Slip our knife in between the flesh and the bone, angle our knife towards the bone, and detach. Now at this point, you're basically just going to run your knife down both the leg bone and the thigh bone, detaching the flesh until you pretty much only have the leg and thigh meat attached to the knee joint where the thigh bone and the leg bone attach or are connected. Now this is the most difficult part of the process because you want to detach this flesh without cutting through the skin or cutting through the flesh. So you see here I'm kind of bundling the meat into one hand while I'm running my knife along either side of the joint and just taking my time making shallow strokes and readjusting my knife angle around the joint until I can detach the meat. Now you will notice sometimes that little pieces of white cartilage will remain attached to the meat, and you want to make sure that you go back and remove that with your knife blade, because that way when you go and cook the thigh later, you don't want people biting into cartilage. I mean, that's never that good or tasty. So make sure that all of the cartilage is removed, and then if there's any excessive connective tissue, you want to remove that as well. Now, from this point, there's any number of applications that you can use your boneless leg and thigh for. You can stuff it, you can roll it. Currently, right now at Stella, we're actually sandwiching it with another leg and thigh, using a meat enzyme to hold it together as a binder, and then we're cooking it sous vide, and that's actually a video that we have in the works right now. But this is just a pretty universal technique, so anytime you need a boneless leg and thigh portion of chicken, this is how you do it. For more information, check out this episode's show notes at stellaculinary.com/CKS42.
Hello, my name is Brian Marcotte. I'm with Hebert Specialty Meats. I'm the manager here at this meat market. Today I'm going to show you how to debone a chicken. To start off with, you always want to use a really sharp knife because that helps immensely in deboning the chicken. And there's a process that we use where we just go and get the carcass out first, and knowing where the joints are in the chicken also helps to speed up the process. You want to be careful not to tear the skin so that you have a pretty chicken when you're finished. You want to start off real nice and slow. Don't rush it. And it takes several hundred times to get efficient or have a clear understanding of the process, but once you do, it's like riding a bicycle. It just kind of never leaves you after that. So here we're just going to remove the main portion of the carcass, and we'll take the wings and bring the top side of the bone there to make them easier to remove. And then we'll remove the leg bones. You just carve the chicken away from the bone. As with anything else, the more you practice, the quicker and the easier it becomes. Basically, you just take the leg inside out and then tuck it back in so that you hold your shape of the chicken. And then just repeat the process on the other side. Of course, the key is to get all of the meat off of the bone so that it stays with the chicken and all you take out is the bones. Tuck it back in, and there you have it. Now you have a nice, complete deboned chicken. So with the holidays coming, we'll typically sell thousands of the deboned stuffed chickens. The cool thing is we also do this with the turkeys, and we have the original recipe for the world famous turducken. So that's always a